Alien princess demanded a human servant. She didn't expect this kind of service. Imagine a galaxy where stars burn with secrets, and every planet holds a story wilder than the last. On the shimmering world of Auralis, where twin suns paint the skies in hues of gold and violet, a human named Ethan Carter is about to turn an alien empire upside down. Buckle up, because this isn't your average sci-fi tale. It's a roller coaster of charm, rebellion, and a romance that could set the cosmos on fire. Auralis, a planet of towering crystal spires and floating palaces, ruled by the Auralians. Gorgeous, telepathic aliens who think they're the universe's gift to perfection. Their skin glows like molten starlight, and their eyes shift colors with their moods. They're advanced, arrogant, and absolutely obsessed with hierarchy. Humans. To them, we're just primitive curiosities, barely worth a second glance. That is, until Ethan, a scrappy exobiologist from Earth, crash lands in their territory after his research shuttle takes a nosedive. Captured and dragged before the royal court. He's expecting a quick execution or maybe a lifetime in a lab cage. Instead, he gets a job offer. Enter Princess Lyria, the ice-cold heir to the Auralian throne. She's got hair like cascading nebulae, a voice that could command galaxies, and a reputation for getting exactly what she wants. Lyria is bored with her perfect palace life, surrounded by fawning courtiers and predictable suitors. When she spots Ethan, grimy, defiant, and cracking sarcastic jokes even with plasma cuffs on, she sees a chance to shake things up. "This human will be my personal servant," she declares, her eyes glinting with mischief. The court gasps. A human? Serving the princess? It's unheard of, undignified, borderline scandalous. But Lyria's word is law, and Ethan's fate is sealed. Now, let's be real. Lyria expects a groveling pet, someone to fetch her glowing wine and polish her hover throne while she barely acknowledges his existence. Ethan, though, he's not that guy. Back on Earth, he was the kind of scientist who'd charm his way out of funding cuts and wrestle rogue specimens for fun. He's got a grin that could melt glaciers and a knack for turning disasters into opportunities. So when Lyria hands him a list of impossible tasks, organize a banquet for 500 alien dignitaries, decode an ancient Auralian text, and oh, don't die in the process, Ethan doesn't blink. He just winks and says, "Challenge accepted, Your Highness." The palace buzzes with gossip. Servants whisper behind their hands, betting on how long the human will last before Lyria's infamous temper sends him packing. But Ethan's got other plans. He starts small, using his exobiology know-how to impress the kitchen staff. Auralian cuisine is a nightmare. Think sentient jelly that screams when you cut it. But Ethan figures out how to tame it, whipping up dishes that leave the chefs dumbfounded. How does a human know this? One mutters, tasting a parfait that practically sings. Ethan just shrugs. I've cooked for worse critics. Lyria notices. She's not impressed. Not yet, but she's intrigued. Her first real test comes when she drags Ethan to a diplomatic summit. He's supposed to stand silently behind her, looking ornamental, while she negotiates with a rival species, the Kravos, hulking, insectoid aliens who'd rather eat you than talk trade. Ethan's not great at silent. When the Kravos ambassador insults Lyria, implying her throne's weak, Ethan steps in with a quip that catches everyone off guard. "Funny, I heard her last trade deal collapsed faster than a black hole. Want to try that insult again?" The room freezes. Lyria's eyes flash. Anger, maybe, or something else. But the Kravos back off, and the summit ends with Auralis holding the upper hand. Lyria doesn't thank Ethan, but she doesn't fire him either. Progress. Their dynamics start to shift. Lyria keeps throwing curveballs, demanding he fix a malfunctioning hollow sculpture or escort her through a deadly crystal maze for recreation. Ethan meets every challenge with a mix of ingenuity and flirtation that drives her nuts. He rewires the hollow sculpture to project a cheeky image of her rolling her eyes. In the maze, he saves her from a collapsing shard with a well-timed tackle. Their faces inches apart for a heartbeat too long. "You're welcome," he murmurs, and her glowing skin pulses pink, betrayal of her emotions. She snaps at him to get up, but her voice wavers. The court starts calling him the human who dares, and Lyria hates how much she's starting to like it. Then comes the first real spark of trouble. Ethan overhears whispers of a rebellion brewing in the outer territories. The Auralians' rigid caste system has left the lower classes starving, and a group called the Shatterclaws is rallying to overthrow the throne. Ethan tries to warn Lyria, but she brushes him off. Her advisors claim it's just rumors, and humans don't understand Orlean politics. Frustrated, Ethan sneaks into the archives, using his knack for puzzles to decode restricted files. What he finds chills him. The Shatterclaws aren't just rebels. They're backed by the Kravos, who want Auralis' resources. And they're planning an attack during the upcoming Starvale Festival, when the palace will be packed with vulnerable guests. Ethan confronts Lyria in her private chambers, a bold move that could get him banished. "You're sitting on a powder keg, princess," he says, laying out the evidence. She's furious, not at the news, but at his audacity. "You think you know my world better than I do?" she hisses, her eyes blazing emerald. But there's a flicker of doubt in her voice, and when Ethan holds her gaze, unflinching, something shifts. She agrees to tighten security, but only if he proves the threat is real. "Find me hard evidence," she challenges, "or you're out." The stage is set. Ethan's no soldier, but he's got a scientist's curiosity and a human's knack for improvisation. As the festival looms, he's about to dive headfirst into a web of danger, deception, and maybe, just maybe, a spark of something more with the princess who's starting to see him as more than a servant. But will he uncover the truth in time, or will the Shatterclaws strike first? The Starvale Festival is 3 days away, and the palace of Auralis is buzzing like a hive of cosmic bees. Ethan Carter, our human exobiologist with a knack for trouble, has just convinced Princess Lyria that a rebellion, the Shatterclaws, backed by the Kravos, is plotting to strike during the celebration. Lyria, with her nebula-like hair and eyes that shift like mood rings, isn't sold on trusting human, but she's given him a shot. Find hard evidence, or he's out. Ethan's ready to dive into the deep end, and folks, this is where things get juicy. Ethan knows he's got to play this smart. The palace is a labyrinth of floating platforms and crystal halls, packed with Orlean nobles who'd rather zap him than chat. Step 1 is blending in, so he swaps his servant gear for a sleek Orlean tunic that hums with soft light. Think high-tech fashion that could walk the runway on Mars. He's no James Bond, but he's got a scientist's curiosity and a human's knack for improvisation. His mission? Snoop around without getting caught, which is easier said than done when everyone's watching the human who dares. His first move is the lower kitchens, where the staff are overworked and underappreciated, grumbling about the caste system that keeps them down. Ethan slides in with a tray of his now legendary singing parfaits. Desserts so good, they practically hum a tune. He flashes a grin at a wiry Orlean cook named Vex, who's elbow-deep in glowing dough. "Heard any festival gossip?" he asks, casual as if he's just shooting the breeze. Vex eyes him, suspicious, but Ethan's charm is like gravity. She can't resist. She mentions a shipment of decorative crystals stashed in a guarded bay, which sounds fishy for party decor. Ethan leans in, promising a dessert that'll make her outshine Lyria herself. Vex's skin sparkles with a blush, and she agrees to sneak him to the bay. The storage bay is locked tighter than a vault, with a telepathic seal that only Auralians can crack. Ethan's human brain doesn't do mind melds, but he's got a trick up his sleeve. He notices the seal's energy pulses match the palace's ambient hum, like a cosmic heartbeat. Grabbing a scanner he borrowed from the lab, he tweaks it to mimic the frequency with a low whistle. Yep, like calling a pet. The seal clicks open, and Ethan's in, feeling like he just hacked the galaxy. Inside, the crystals aren't party props. They're Kravos plasma cores, pulsing with enough juice to turn the palace into a crater. Bingo. But before he can grab proof, a shadow shifts. A Shatterclaw scout, cloaked in stealth tech, with claws that scream bad news. Ethan's heart slams into overdrive. He's got no weapons, just his wits and a crate of explosive cores. The scout's closing in, its claws clicking like a countdown. Thinking fast, Ethan rigs a core to overload, creating a blinding flash that's all show, no boom. The scout reels, screeching, and Ethan bolts, snatching a core sample as evidence. He's halfway to Lyria's chambers when alarms blare. Someone's clocked him. Guards swarm, their telepathic scans prickling his skin. Ethan dives into a service tunnel, emerging in the royal gardens where Lyria is hosting a pre-festival tea, all grace and diplomacy. She's mid-sentence, charming a diplomat, when Ethan stumbles in, sweaty and clutching the core. "Got your proof," he gasps, dropping it at her feet. The court freezes, Lyria's eyes narrow, and her skin flickers pink, fury, or maybe something else. Lyria clears the crowd with a wave and pulls Ethan into a private alcove, her presence like a star about to go supernova. "Talk," she snaps, but there's a crack in her icy tone. Ethan spills everything. The cores, the Shatterclaws, the Kravos plot. The core's energy signature is undeniable, and when Lyria's advisors, grumpy Auralians who hate Ethan's guts, confirm it, they're stunned silent. Lyria studies him, her gaze sharp enough to cut crystal. "You could have died," she says, almost to herself. Ethan shrugs, flashing that grin that's starting to get under her skin. "Figured you'd hate breaking in a new servant." Her lips twitch, a half smile, maybe, and she orders a palace lockdown, but the festival's still on. Canceling it would tip off the rebels, and Lyria is not about to show weakness. She's got a new task for Ethan. Infiltrate the festival prep crew to sniff out Shatterclaw operatives. It's a promotion, but it's also a tightrope over a black hole. Ethan's game, partly because he's stubborn, partly because he's noticing how Lyria's eyes linger when she thinks he's not looking. The prep crew is a chaotic mix of Auralians and off-world contractors, any of whom could be a traitor. Ethan blends in, cracking jokes and spinning Earth stories, like outrunning a Martian sandstorm, to loosen tongues. He's chatting up a contractor named Taz, a twitchy off-worlder, when Taz lets slip that a special guest is joining the festival. The guest? A Kravos warlord, posing as a diplomat. Ethan's stomach lurches. This isn't just a rebellion. It's an invasion in disguise. He needs to warn Lyria, but the festival's prep is a circus of light dances and hollow art, with drones zipping everywhere. Ethan spots her across the grand hall, radiant in a gown that shifts like a galaxy. He's about to move when Vex grabs his arm, her skin dim with panic. "They know you're digging," she whispers. "The Shatterclaws are watching you." Ethan's pulse spikes, but there's no time to freak out. He hands Vex a comm link, telling her to alert Lyria's guards, and slips into the crowd, eyes locked on finding the warlord before the festival turns into a bloodbath. The Grand Hall of Auralis is a dazzling whirlwind, like someone threw a cosmic rave and invited the whole galaxy. Floating lanterns pulse with alien rhythms. Auralians glide across anti-grav dance floors, and the air hums with the buzz of nectar-fueled laughter. Ethan Carter, our human exobiologist turned rebel hunter, is dodging through this chaos, Vex warning burning in his mind. The Shatterclaws know he's onto them. Somewhere in this glittering crowd, a Kravos warlord is posing as a diplomat, ready to unleash an invasion during the Starvale Festival. Ethan's got a comm link to Lyria's guards and a mission to find the warlord, but with eyes on him, every step feels like dancing on a razor's edge. Ethan's no covert operative, but he's got a knack for turning chaos into opportunity. He weaves through the festival prep, blending in with the crew hauling hollow projectors and vats of glowing nectar. His Auralian tunic hums softly, helping him pass as just another worker, but his human quirks, cracking jokes, humming an old Earth tune, draw curious glances. He needs to track down that warlord, and fast. His best lead is Taz, the twitchy contractor who mentioned the special guest. Ethan spots him near a hollow stage, fiddling with a drone that's sculpting light into swirling galaxies. "Time to play nice." "Hey Taz, that drone's putting on a show," Ethan says, leaning in with a grin. "Bet you know all the VIPs stealing the spotlight tonight." Taz stiffens, his eyes darting like a cornered animal. "Just doing my job, human," he mutters, but Ethan's not buying it. He keeps the charm dialed up, tossing in a story about rewiring a Martian rover to dance for his lab crew. Taz loosens up, chuckling, and lets slip that the VIP's got a private suite in the East Spire, guarded by tech that's not from around here. Ethan's gut screams Kravos. He claps Taz on the shoulder, promising to tweak the hollow stage for extra flair, and slips away, mind racing. The East Spires is next stop, but getting there during festival prep is like sneaking through a laser grid. The palace is locked down, with guards at every checkpoint scanning for trouble. Ethan's human charm won't cut it against telepathic Auralians, so he falls back on his exobiologist bag of tricks. He swipes a vial of bioluminescent algae from a lab cart, harmless but eye-catching, and rigs it to a festival lantern. During a test run of the light show, he sets it off, turning a corridor into a glowing rave. Guards rush to investigate, their scans distracted, and Ethan darts through a service hatch, emerging near the East Spire. The spire's crystal walls hum with energy, and Ethan's scanner picks up a faint, alien signature, definitely not Auralian. He's close, but a cloaked figure steps from the shadows, eyes glinting like polished obsidian. Shatterclaw operative, and not the friendly kind. Ethan's got no weapons, just a scanner and a whole lot of nerve. The operative lunges, claws flashing, and Ethan dives behind a crystal pillar, heart pounding. He spots a loose panel in the spire's ventilation system, its circuits exposed. With a quick zap from his scanner, he overloads the panel, sending a shower of sparks that blinds the operative. Ethan grabs the operative's dropped comm device, buzzing with encrypted chatter, and bolts, legs burning as he races back to the festival prep. He needs someone who can crack the comm, and Vex, the tech-savvy cook, is his best bet. He finds her in the kitchens, kneading glowing dough like it's her therapy. "Got a puzzle for you," he says, sliding her the comm. "Crack it, and I'll make you a dessert that'll have the nobles begging for seconds." Vex rolls her eyes, but hooks the comm to a makeshift rig, her fingers flying. "Your trouble, human," she mutters, but there's a spark in her glow. Minutes later, she's got a partial decrypt, coordinates for a meeting tonight, right in the festival's main hall during Lyria's speech. Ethan's stomach twists. Whatever's going down, it's happening soon. He needs to warn Lyria, but the festival's kicking into high gear, with dancers and drones turning the hall into a cosmic circus. He spots Lyria across the chaos, her nebula gown shimmering as she greets dignitaries. Ethan's about to make a move when a hand clamps his shoulder. Taz, looking like he just swallowed a plasma core. "You're asking too many questions," Taz hisses, his voice low and dangerous. "Etan's gut drops." Taz isn't just a gossip, he's Shatterclaw. Ethan twists free, using a move he picked up wrestling rogue specimens, and dives into the crowd. The festival's chaos is his shield. Dancers swirl, nectar flows, and Auralians laugh, oblivious to the storm brewing. Ethan's almost to Lyria when he catches a glimpse of a cloaked figure near the main platform, moving with predatory grace. The warlord? Maybe. Ethan's scanner pings, picking up a spike in alien tech. He's running out of time. He signals Vex through the comm link, whispering, "Tell Lyria's guards to watch the platform. Something's about to go down." Vex's voice crackles back, tense but steady. On it. Ethan takes a breath, steeling himself, and pushes toward Lyria, ready to blow this plot wide open, or get himself vaporized trying. The festival's main hall is a dazzling chaos of light and motion, like a galaxy decided to throw a rave. Auralians swirl through anti-grav dances, their glowing skin painting the air with colors, while drones weave hollow art that pulses to alien beats. Ethan Carter, heart hammering, slips through the crowd after shaking off Taz's grip. That cloaked figure near the platform, maybe the Kravos warlord, has his instincts on high alert, and Vex warning about the Shatterclaws watching him feels like a blade at his back. With a comm link to Lyria's guards and a scanner buzzing with alien tech signals, Ethan's racing against time to stop an invasion before the Starvale Festival becomes a cosmic disaster. He ducks behind a floating lantern, its soft hum masking his quick breaths. The platform's where Lyria is set to speak, and it's crawling with security, too much for a simple speech. Ethan's scanner spikes, picking up encrypted signals syncing with the platform's control hub. His exobiologist brain kicks into gear. That hub runs the festival's tech, lights, shields, the works. If the Shatterclaws hack it, the palace is a sitting duck. He needs to warn Lyria, but she's across the hall, a vision in her nebula gown, charming dignitaries like she was born for it. Getting to her, without tipping off the operatives, watching him is a gamble, but Ethan's never been one to fold. He grabs a tray of glowing nectar vials from a passing server, playing the eager servant to slip through the crowd. His Auralian tunic hums, blending him in, but his human swagger, humming a snatch of an old earth tune, draws a few curious glances. Ethan flashes a grin, defusing suspicion, and edges toward the platform. The guards are telepathic, their scans prickling his skin, but his reputation as Lyria's pet human gives him an edge. "Vials for Her Highness," he says, winking like he's delivering pizza. One guard hesitates, then nods, and Ethan's up the platform steps, heart pounding like a drum solo. Lyria's mid-conversation with a pompous noble, her glow steady but her eyes sharp. When she spots Ethan, her skin flickers gold. Annoyance, maybe, or something warmer. He leans in, keeping the tray steady, and murmurs, "Got a problem." Cloak figures at the hub, text signals off the charts. Smells like trouble. Lyria's gaze locks on his, and for a split second, it's just them in the chaos. She excuses herself with a smile that could melt steel and pulls him behind shimmering curtain. "This better be worth interrupting me," she snaps, but her voice has a tremor. Ethan shows her the scanner's readings, pointing out the hub. They're targeting the controls. Could crash the whole festival. Her skin shifts to sapphire, a sign she's thinking hard. Lyria's no fragile royal. She's a tactician, and Ethan's starting to see the steel beneath her glow. "You're sure?" she asks, her eyes searching his. Ethan nods, that grin creeping back. "Sure enough to bet my last oxygen tank." She doesn't smile, but her glow softens, and she signals her guards through a telepathic link, her fingers brushing his wrist. The touch sends a spark through him, but he pushes it down. "Focus, Carter. Stay with me," she says, her tone all business. "We find them together." Ethan's not arguing. Teaming up with Lyria is a thrill, even if it's a death wish. They slip back into the crowd, Lyria playing the perfect host while Ethan scans the hub. The cloaked figures are there, 3 of them, moving with eerie precision. His scanner picks up a signal, encrypted, syncing with something big, maybe in the East Spire. Ethan whispers, "They're hacking the hub. Shields, lights, everything could go dark." Lyria's skin flares red. Alarm. But she nods, her guards closing in silently. The plans to corner the figures, disable their tech, and grab the warlord before the Shatterclaws make their move. But plans and Auralis don't mix. As Lyria glides toward the hub, all diplomatic charm, a low hum shakes the air. Ethan's scanner screams, and the hub's holoscreens flicker, flashing a Cravo's insignia before going black. Aurelians gasp, the vibe shifting from festive to tense. Ethan grabs Lyria's arm, yanking her back as a pulse of energy tears through the hub. Sparks explode, the crowd screams, and the cloaked figures melt into the panic. The platform's tech is fried, leaving the palace's shields down. Ethan and Lyria dive behind a toppled holoprojector, her breath hot against his cheek. "They're moving fast," she whispers, her voice steady despite the chaos. Ethan's mind races. His scanner's picking up a power surge from the East Spire, something big charging, maybe a weapon or a ship. "They're rerouting energy," he says, showing Lyria the readings. Her eyes meet his, fierce and focused, and for a moment, they're a team against the galaxy. "We stop them," she says, and Ethan's heart skips. He's not just a servant anymore. He's in this fight, and Lyria is starting to trust him. Maybe more than trust, if that pink flicker in her glow means anything. They're about to move when a shadow looms. Taz, flanked by 2 Shatterclaw goons, their claws gleaming. "You're out of moves, human," Taz snarls, and Ethan realizes the game just got deadly. Ethan Carter's heart slams against his ribs as Taz, the traitorous contractor, looms over him and Princess Lyria, flanked by two Shatterclaw operatives whose claws gleam like sharpened comets. "You're out of moves, human," Taz snarls, his sneer dripping with venom. Ethan and Lyria crouch behind a toppled hollow projector, the air thick with the acrid smell of fried circuits from the wrecked control hub. Lyria's glow pulses red, her eyes fierce. She's no damsel, and Ethan's got a human knack for flipping the script. Time to turn this ambush into an escape. Ethan catches Lyria's glance, a silent signal passing between them. His scanner's buzzing, still picking up that power surge from the East Spire. Whatever the Shatterclaws are charging, it's their real play, and this fight's just a distraction. He flashes a grin, all bravado. "Taz, you sure you want to dance with me? I've got moves you haven't seen." Taz laughs, but the goons shift, thrown by Ethan's confidence. Lyria leans in, her voice ablade. "You're betraying Auralis for Cravo's crumbs," she says, her telepathic aura crackling, probing Taz's mind. He flinches, his smirk faltering, and Ethan sees a shot. He tweaks his scanner, sending a high-pitched pulse that scrambles the goons' calms. They stagger, clutching their ears, and Ethan dives forward, slamming Taz into a pile of festival debris, broken lanterns, and tangled wires. Lyria moves like lightning, snatching a jagged drone fragment and smashing it into one goon's face. The other lunges, claws slashing, but Ethan's ready, using a wrestling trick from his rogue specimen days to sweep its legs. It crashes, and Lyria lands a telepathic jab, dazing it. Taz scrambles free, cursing, and bolts into the crowd, vanishing like a coward. Ethan's about to chase when Lyria grabs his arm, her touch sending a spark through him. "Spire," she says, her voice sharp but breathless. "That's where this ends." Ethan nods. She's thinking big picture, and that fire in her glow is pulling him in deeper. They sprint for a service corridor, dodging Auralians, stumbling in the panic. The corridor's a dim labyrinth of crystal walls, pulsing with emergency lights. Ethan's scanner guides them toward the East Spire, the surge spiking. "Weapon or ship," he says, checking readings. Either way, it's trouble. Lyria's skin shifts to emerald, her mind racing. "We stop it," she says, and Ethan's all in, her determination fueling his own. The Spire's base is a fortress, its entrance guarded by two Shatterclaws in flickering stealth tech. Ethan's got no weapons, just a scanner and a head full of wild ideas. He spots a cracked power conduit leaking faint energy. "Hit him with your mind," he whispers to Lyria, who nods, her telepathic aura flaring to cloud the guard's senses. Ethan creeps to the conduit, using his scanner to overload it. The conduit bursts, spraying crystal shards that blind the operatives. Lyria charges, disarming one with a swift kick, while Ethan tackles the other, pinning it long enough for Lyria to knock it out with a telepathic pulse that leaves the air humming. Inside, the Spire chamber vibrates with raw power. A massive Cravo's device, jagged metal and glowing runes, looms, its cables plugged into the palace's core. Ethan's scanner screams. It's a plasma cannon, capable of turning the capital to dust. "Well, that's overkill," he mutters. Lyria is beside him, her glow steady despite the stakes. "Can you kill it?" she asks, her voice carrying a trust that hits Ethan like a supernova. He grins, diving into the wiring. "Watch me work, princess." His exobiologist brain dissects the alien tech, spotting a weak power relay. He's rerouting circuits when a shadow falls. A cloaked Cravo's warlord, plasma blade igniting, flanked by more Shatterclaws. Lyria steps up, her glow blazing like a star. "You don't belong here," she says, her voice a command that could halt a comet. The warlord's laugh is a grating rasp, his blade rising. Ethan's gut twists. She's fearless, but that weapon's deadly. He tweaks the relay, sending a feedback pulse that shakes the chamber. The warlord stumbles, his blade grazing Lyria's arm. She gasps, her glow dimming, and Ethan's world narrows. He grabs a loose cable, swinging it like a lasso to trip the warlord, and pulls Lyria behind a console. "You okay?" he asks, voice tight. She nods, clutching her arm, eyes fierce. "End it," she says, and Ethan slams the relay shut, killing the cannon's hum. The Shatterclaws regroup, claws glinting as they close in. Ethan spots a ventilation shaft above, just big enough for a desperate escape. "Up," he whispers, looping the cable around a strut. Lyria climbs, wincing, her blood glowing faintly. Ethan follows, kicking debris to slow their pursuers. They crawl through the tight vent, the warlord's roars echoing below, and drop into a maintenance bay packed with festival tech. Drones, hollow emitters, crates of nectar. Lyria slumps against a crate, her glow fading, and Ethan's chest tightens. He tears a strip from his tunic, wrapping her wound, his fingers gentle. "You're not quitting on me," he says, meeting her eyes. Her glow flickers pink, a silent answer, but a low hum shakes the bay. A Kravos ship powering up outside, its shadow looming like doom. The maintenance bay vibrates with the Kravos ship's ominous hum, its shadow creeping through the crystal walls like a predator. Ethan Carter kneels beside Princess Lyria, her glow dim as she leans against a crate, her wound wrapped but her eyes fierce. "We're not done," she whispers, her voice a spark that ignites Ethan's resolve. He nods, heart racing. Her trust, that pink flicker in her glow, is worth more than any star. The Shatterclaw's footsteps echo closer, claws scraping, and Ethan's mind spins for a final play. He spots a crate of festival hollow emitters, their circuits ripe for a hack. "Hold tight, Princess," he says, flashing a grin. He hot wires the emitters, rigging them to project a blinding light show. As the Shatterclaws burst in, Ethan triggers the trap, the bay erupting in dazzling chaos. He grabs Lyria, pulling her toward an exit, but the ship's hum peaks, a weapon charging. The warlord's voice booms through the comm. "Your world burns now." Ethan locks eyes with Lyria, her hand gripping his, and they dive for cover as a massive energy beam tears through the palace, the ceiling collapsing above them. The maintenance bay is a war zone, the Kravos ship's energy beam ripping through the palace like a cosmic blade. Ethan Carter and Princess Lyria hit the deck, crystal shards and twisted metal raining down as the ceiling buckles. Lyria's glow is faint, her wounded arm trembling, but her grip on Ethan's hand is iron. Her eyes scream defiance, and that pink flicker in her aura keeps Ethan's heart pumping. The Shatterclaw's hollow emitter trap is still flashing, disorienting their pursuers, but the warlord's voice echoes through the comm, cold as a black hole. "Your world burns now." Ethan's not letting Auralis, or Lyria, go down without a fight. Time to be the human who screws up alien invasions. Dust chokes the air, and Ethan pulls Lyria behind a toppled generator, its hum drowned by the ship's roar outside. His mind races. Kravos ships don't mess around, and that beam means they're done playing subtle. The palace is defenseless, shields fried from the hub's sabotage, and the festival's chaos has scattered Lyria's guards. Ethan's got no weapons, just a fried scanner and a knack for improvisation. He scans the bay, crates of festival tech, sparking conduits, and a half-buried control panel linked to the palace's auxiliary systems. "We need to hit that ship," he says, voice low. Lyria's eyes meet his, fierce despite her pain. "Ow," she asks, trust in her tone that hits him like a starburst. Ethan's grin is all bravado. Ever seen a human MacGyver, a miracle? He crawls to the control panel, dodging debris as another beam shakes the bay. The panel's a mess, but it's tied to the palace's defense grid. Point defense lasers, offline, but not dead. Ethan's no engineer, but he's rewired enough lab tech to know a hack. He pries open the panel, fingers flying over circuits, rerouting power from the festival's hollow emitters to jumpstart the lasers. Lyria covers him, her telepathic aura flaring to disorient a Shatterclaw creeping through the rubble. "Hurry," she hisses, her glow dimming as she pushes her limits. Ethan's heart twists. She's fighting for him as much as Auralis. The panel sparks, and a low hum signals the lasers powering up. Ethan patches the targeting system to his scanner's last readings of the ship's energy signature, praying it holds. Got a lock, he mutters, slamming the activation switch. Outside, the lasers fire, their beams slicing through the night, grazing the cloaked Kravos ship. A fiery explosion lights the sky. The ship's hit, but it's still airborne, retaliating with a barrage that shakes the bay. Ethan dives to Lyria, shielding her as a conduit explodes nearby. Her hand finds his, her glow flickering pink again. "You're insane," she whispers, but there's a smile in her voice. "You're welcome," Ethan quips, his pulse racing for reasons beyond the fight. The Shatterclaws regroup, their claws cutting through the dust, led by the warlord's hulking silhouette. Ethan's hackbot time, but the ship's still a threat, and they're cornered. He spots a crate of festival drones, same ones he rigged earlier, and gets an idea. "Cover me one more time," he tells Lyria, who nods, her telepathic pulse weakening but enough to daze the nearest Shatterclaw. Ethan scrambles to the crate, hotwiring the drones to overload their power cells, turning them into flying bombs. He programs a swarm to target the ship's energy signature, whispering, "Go big or go home." The drones buzz out, dodging Shatterclaw fire, and slam into the ship's hull, triggering a chain of explosions that rock the palace. The warlord roars, charging through the chaos, his plasma blade aimed at Lyria. Ethan's vision tunnels. He's not losing her. He grabs a jagged metal shard, hurling it to distract the warlord, then tackles Lyria out of the blade's path. They roll behind a crate, her breath hot against his cheek. "You're reckless," she gasps, but her hand lingers on his arm, her glow pulsing with something deeper. Ethan's grin is shaky. "Gotta keep you around to yell at me." The ship's explosions light the sky, but it's still limping, its weapons charging for a final strike. Ethan's drones did damage, but not enough. They need to finish this. Ethan spots a service hatch leading to the palace's rooftop, a risky shot at the ship's core. "Rooftop," he says, helping Lyria up. Her glow's fading, but she nods, her jaw set. They crawl through the hatch, emerging on a shattered rooftop under Auralis' twin suns, the Kravos ship looming like a wounded beast. Its weapons glow, aimed at the capital. Ethan's out of tech, but he sees a damaged defense turret, its controls intact. "One last hack," he tells Lyria, who steadies him, her telepathic aura boosting his focus. As the warlord's claws scrape below, Ethan rewires the turret, aiming for the ship's core. The turret fires, a beam piercing the ship, but the warlord bursts through, blade raised, and Ethan's not sure they'll make it out alive. The palace rooftop is a jagged battlefield, Auralis' twin suns casting harsh light on the Kravos ship's smoking hull, its core sparking from Ethan's turret shot. Ethan Carter and Princess Lyria stand exposed, the defense turret's hum fading as the Kravos warlord charges, his plasma blade slicing the air like a vengeful star. Lyria's glow is weak, her wounded arm trembling, but her eyes burn with defiance, locked on Ethan's like he's her anchor. Ethan's heart pounds. He's out of tech, out of tricks, and the ship's weapons are still charging, a glowing threat aimed at the capital below. But Lyria's faith in him, that pink pulse in her aura, is enough to keep him swinging. Time to be the human who doesn't quit. The warlord's blade swings, and Ethan shoves Lyria behind the turret, diving to avoid a slash that melts the rooftop's crystal edge. "Stay down," he yells, grabbing a shard of debris as a makeshift shield. Lyria is not listening. She's up, her telepathic aura flaring despite her pain, slamming into the warlord's mind. He staggers, roaring, but shakes it off, his claws gleaming as he advances. Ethan's mind races, the turret spent, but the ship's core is exposed, leaking energy. If he can hit it again, it's game over for the Kravos. He needs a weapon, and fast. Ethan spots a fallen Shatterclaw blaster near the rooftop's edge, dropped in the chaos. "Cover me," he calls to Lyria, who nods, her telepathic pulse weakening but enough to distract the warlord. Ethan sprints, dodging the warlord's wild swings, and snatches the blaster, its alien grip awkward but functional. He fires, the bolt grazing the warlord's armor, slowing him. Lyria seizes the moment, grabbing a loose cable from the turret and whipping it at the warlord's legs, tripping him. "Nice one, princess." Ethan grins, and her glow flickers pink, a spark of their chemistry cutting through the chaos. The ship's hum spikes, its weapons glowing brighter, second from firing. Ethan aims the blaster at the core, but the warlords back up, blade arcing toward Lyria. Ethan's gut lurches. He drops the shot, tackling the warlord, the blaster skidding away. They grapple. Ethan's human strength no match for Cravo's bulk, but he's scrappy, landing a knee to the warlord's gut. Lyria dives for the blaster, her wounded arm slowing her, but she grabs it, firing at the warlord's back. The bolt staggers him, giving Ethan a chance to break free. "You're stealing my hero moment," Ethan quips, breathless. Lyria's smirk is pure fire. "Earn it, human." They're a team now, moving like they've fought together forever. Ethan scrambles to the turret's controls, spotting a manual override for its power grid. "One more shot," he mutters, rerouting every ounce of the palace's auxiliary power, lights, drones, even the festival's glow, into the turret. The rooftop shakes, the ship's weapons seconds from unleashing hell. Lyria covers him, firing the blaster at Shatterclaws climbing from the hatch, her glow fading but her aim true. "Hurry, Ethan!" she shouts, and the sound of his name on her lips is a jolt stronger than any plasma. The turret hums, power surging, and Ethan locks onto the ship's core, his hands steady despite the warlord's claws scraping closer. He fires, the beam tearing through the core, igniting a chain reaction. The ship lurches, explosions rippling across its hull, but its weapons fire a desperate shot, a beam grazing the rooftop. Ethan dives, pulling Lyria down as the blast vaporizes the turret, leaving them exposed. The warlord roars, lunging through the smoke, his blade aimed at Lyria's heart. Ethan's vision narrows. He grabs the blaster from Lyria, firing point blank, the bolt piercing the warlord's chest. He collapses, his blade clattering, but the ship's explosions grow wilder, debris raining as it plummets toward the capital. Ethan and Lyria scramble to the rooftop's edge, the ship's descent a fiery streak. "It's gonna hit the city." Lyria gasps, her glow nearly gone. Ethan's mind spins. He's got nothing left, but humans don't fold. He spots a comm unit on the warlord's body, buzzing with Cravo's chatter. "One last play," he says, snatching it and patching into the palace's emergency channel. "Vex, you there?" he shouts. Vex's voice crackles back, tense but alive. "Crazy human, what now?" Ethan's grin is desperate. "Reroute all power to the capital's shields, now." Vex curses but complies, and a faint hum signals the shields flickering on below. The ship crashes, a fireball erupting outside the capital, but the shields hold, saving the city. Ethan collapses beside Lyria, her hand finding his, her glow weak but warm. "You're impossible," she whispers, her eyes soft. Ethan's laugh is shaky. "And you're stuck with me." But Shatterclaw claws echo from the hatch, survivors closing in, and Ethan knows this fight's not over yet. The rooftop is a scarred wasteland, Auralis' twin suns glinting off the Cravo's ship's wreckage, smoldering beyond the capital, its threat ended by Ethan's desperate shield play. Ethan Carter lies beside Princess Lyria, their hands clasped, her glow faint but warm against his skin. Her whispered, "You're impossible," and soft eyes linger in his mind, but the scrape of Shatterclaw claws from the rooftop hatch snaps him back. The warlord's down, the ship's gone, but these stragglers are still out for blood, and Lyria's fading fast, her wounded arm sapping her strength. Ethan's got no weapons, no tech, just a stubborn human streak and a princess worth fighting for. "Round 3, let's go." Ethan pulls Lyria behind a chunk of shattered crystal, her breath shallow but her grip tight. "Stay with me," he murmurs, brushing a strand of glowing hair from her face. Her glow flickers pink, a weak smile tugging at her lips. "Not going anywhere," she whispers, but her voice is thin. The Shatterclaws, 5 of them, claws glinting like cosmic knives, emerge from the hatch, fanning out across the rooftop. Ethan's heart races. They're outnumbered, and Lyria's telepathic aura is too weak to push back. He scans the debris, twisted metal, a sparking conduit, and a half-buried festival hollow emitter. "Time to get creative. Got a plan?" Lyria asks, her eyes searching his. Ethan's grin is pure bravado. "Always, princess. Humans are great at winging it." He grabs the hollow emitter, its circuits still alive, and rigs it to project a decoy. A shimmering image of him and Lyria sprinting toward the rooftop's edge. The Shatterclaws take the bait, lunging at the hologram, and Ethan uses the distraction to drag Lyria toward a maintenance ladder leading down to the palace's upper halls. Her weight leans into him, her glow dimming, and Ethan's chest tightens. She's fighting to stay conscious, and he's not losing her now. They reach the ladder, but a Shatterclaw spots them, its claws slashing. Ethan shoves Lyria behind him, grabbing a metal rod from the debris and swinging it like a bat. The rod connects, staggering the Shatterclaw, but another leaps from the side, pinning Ethan. Lyria's gasp cuts through the chaos. She surges forward, her telepathic pulse weak but enough to daze the attacker. Ethan breaks free, tackling the Shatterclaw off the rooftop's edge, its claws grazing his arm as it falls. "You okay?" Lyria asks, her voice strained. Ethan winces, blood seeping through his sleeve. "Just a scratch. You're stealing my thunder again." Her pink glow flares, a spark of their fire. The remaining Shatterclaws regroup, closing in. Ethan and Lyria stumbled down the ladder into a shattered corridor, crystal walls cracked and festival lanterns flickering. Ethan's mind spins. The palace's defenses are offline, but there's a comms hub nearby, tied to the capital's security network. If he can reach it, he might rally surviving guards or trigger an emergency lockdown. "Comms hub," he says, supporting Lyria as they move. She nods, her jaw set despite the pain. "Lead the way, human." Her trust hits him like a supernova, and that pink flicker in her glow is doing things to his heart. The corridor twists, Shatterclaw claws echoing behind. Ethan spots the comms hub's door, its telepathic lock fried from the attack. He pries it open, revealing a glowing console. Lyria slumps against the wall, her glow barely a whisper. "Hurry," she breathes, and Ethan dives in, his exobiologist brain parsing the alien interface. He patches into the security network, broadcasting a distress signal. "Any Auralian guards, this is Ethan Carter, Shatterclaws in the palace, converge on the upper halls." Static crackles, then Vex's voice breaks through. "You're still alive, human?" "Guards are pinned down, but I'm sending a squad." Ethan's about to respond when Shatterclaws burst in, claws slashing. He grabs a chair, swinging it to block a strike, but there's too many. Lyria pushes off the wall, her telepathic aura flaring one last time, knocking a Shatterclaw back. "Ethan now," she shouts, collapsing. Ethan's heart lurches. He slams the console, triggering a lockdown that seals the hub's doors, trapping 2 Shatterclaws outside. The remaining 2 charge, and Ethan fights dirty, using the chair to parry claws and his fists to land desperate blows. One Shatterclaw pins him, its claw at his throat, but a blaster shot rings out. Lyria, barely standing, fires a stolen weapon, dropping the attacker. The last Shatterclaw lunges and Ethan rolls, grabbing its arm and using its momentum to slam into the console. Sparks fly, the Shatterclaw slumps, and Ethan crawls to Lyria, who's crumpled on the floor. "You're a badass," he gasps, pulling her close. Her glow is nearly gone, but her eyes lock on his, soft and fierce. "So are you," she whispers, her hand brushing his cheek. Footsteps echo. Vex and the guards, finally here, but a low rumble shakes the palace. A new Kravo's signal spiking on the console. Ethan's gut twists, something still out there. It's coming for them. Ethan Carter's arm burns where a Shatterclaw grazed it. but his focus is on Princess Lyria, slumped against him in the comms hub, her glow faint as a dying star. Her whispered, "So are you." After dropping a shatterclaw with a stolen blaster still buzzes in his chest, her hand brushing his cheek like a spark. The console's hum spikes with a new Kravos signal, a ship outside the capital, and shatterclaw claws scrape closer, their snarls echoing through the sealed doors. Vex's voice crackles over the comm. "Guards incoming. Human, hold on." But Ethan knows time's running out. He's not losing Lyria or Auralis now. "Stay with me, Princess," Ethan says, easing Lyria to her feet, her grip tight despite her fading glow. He dives to the console, fingers dancing over alien controls. The Kravos signals a cloaked ship, smaller, weapons hot. A cleanup crew for the Shatterclaw's failed coup. "We take it out. We're clear," Ethan mutters. Lyria, clutching the blaster, nods, her voice sharp. "Do it." Her trust fuels him, and Ethan's human stubbornness kicks in. He spots a defense grid protocol, perimeter turrets, offline but salvageable. "Here goes nothing," he says, rerouting power from the hub's flickering systems. The doors shudder, a Shatterclaw's claw tearing through. Lyria fires, the bolt sizzling, dropping it. "Still got it," she quips, and Ethan's grin flashes. "Never doubted you." He slams the console, turrets humming online. Outside, lasers rip the night, nailing the Kravos ship. A fiery blast lights the sky. Ship down, threat gone. But two Shatterclaws burst in, claws slashing. Ethan swings a broken chair, cracking one skull, while Lyria's blaster downs another. Guards storm in, Vex at the lead, her blaster blazing. "Dessert's on you, human," she yells, finishing the last Shatterclaw with a telepathic pulse from the guards. The hub falls silent, Ethan's breath ragged as he pulls Lyria close. Then the console flares, projecting an ancient Aurelian holomessage, triggered by his hack. Ethan's exobiologist brain decodes it. Eons ago, humans fought beside Aurelians against the Kravos Empire, their biosignatures coded into Aurelian tech. That's why Ethan's hacks worked like magic. Lyria's glow surges gold, her eyes wide. "You're not just a human," she whispers. "You're our kin." Ethan blinks, stunned. "Well, damn, guess I'm family." Vex snorts. "Ancient bros, huh?" And the guard's telepathic scans hum with shock. Lyria's hand finds Ethan's, her glow pulsing pink, feeling not just duty. But cheers erupt from the festival hall below, pulling them out. They limp to the grand hall, Vex steadying Lyria. Aurelians pack the space, lanterns flickering, their glows a cosmic sea. Lyria's advisors, one smug, stand speechless on the platform. The crowd hushes, eyes on Ethan, the human who dares. Lyria steps up, her voice ablade. "This human saved Auralis," she says, gripping Ethan's hand, her glow fierce. "He's one of us." The crowd roars, cheers shaking the hall, and Ethan's chest tightens, not for the glory, but for Lyria's pink aura, her lean closer. "You're staying," she murmurs, teasing. Ethan's grin is pure fire. "Try getting rid of me." An advisor bows, muttering, "The alliance, it's real." Vex elbows Ethan. "Bigger dessert order, hero." Ethan laughs, but Lyria's gaze holds him, her glow a promise. The festival sparks back to life, but for Ethan, the real light's right beside him. Humans don't just survive, they rewrite the stars. The festival hall of Auralis hums with electric energy, lanterns pulsing like stars as Ethan Carter stands beside Princess Lyria, her hand warm in his, her glow a pink shimmer that's got his heart doing flips. The crowd's cheers still ring, their glowing skin painting the air, and even Lyria's advisors, those grumpy crystal chewers, are looking at Ethan like he's more than a guy who stumbled into their galaxy. Lyria's grip tightens, her voice teasing as she murmurs, "You're staying." Ethan's grin is all bravado. "Try getting rid of me, princess." Vex, elbowing through with a smirk, hollers, "Bigger dessert order, hero." And the hall laughs, the night alive with possibility. Lyria pulls Ethan toward the platform, the festival's heart, where she's set to close the night. The anti-grav floor hums beneath them, and Ethan's no dancer, but when she tugs him into a spin, he's game. You're gonna regret this, he quips, twirling her nebula gown catching the light like a galaxy. Her laugh is bright, her glow wrapping him. I'll take that risk, she says, and the crowd watches, whispering about the princess and her human. Ethan catches Vex raising a nectar vial, winking like she's in on secret. The dance ends, but Lyria's fingers linger, her eyes soft. You've changed things, she says, no royal mask now. Ethan's grin softens. Took a whole planet to find you. Worth it. Her glow flares pink, and damn, that's better than any medal. The advisors approach, their glows subdued like they're swallowing pride. The lead one, a guy who looks like he's allergic to smiles, clears his throat. Ethan Carter, he says, voice stiff but earnest. Auralis owes you. We misjudged you. He offers a medallion, its runes shimmering, a symbol of honor. Ethan takes it, his earth charm dialed up. Appreciate it, but don't ask me to fix your hollow sculptures again. The crowd chuckles, tension easing, and Vex mutters, he's not wrong. Ethan slips the medallion into his pocket, but it's Lyria's proud glance that hits harder, like she's seeing him, really seeing him. They step off the platform, the festival swirling around them, Auralians gliding through dances and toasting with glowing nectar. Lyria leads Ethan to a quieter alcove, her bandage peeking from her sleeve, his handiwork, and he's still stupidly proud. You're not just a guest here, she says, her voice low, serious. This world needs you. Ethan raises an eyebrow. Me? I'm just a guy who likes puzzles. Her glow pulses, playful but fierce. You're the puzzle, Ethan, and I'm solving you. His heart skips, and he's half a second from saying something reckless when Vex's voice crackles over a comm. Human, kitchen's losing it over your parfait trick. Save us. Ethan groans, but Lyria's grin says she's not letting him off the hook. Back in the hall, Ethan's tweaking a dessert that hums a tune, Auralian's crowding around like he's a chef and a rock star. He catches Lyria watching, her glow soft, and it hits him. This isn't about medals or hero talk. It's about connection, human, Auralian, whatever. He's not just a scientist dodging rogue specimens. He's a thread weaving two worlds together. The medallion's weight in his pocket feels like a promise. Not to be a legend, but to keep showing up, proving humans don't need to glow to matter. Later, they slip to a balcony, Auralis' twin suns sinking, the city's spires glinting like dreams. The festival's hum fades, and Lyria leans close, her arm brushing his. What's next? She asks, teasing. More heroics? Ethan chuckles. Maybe just surviving your cooking. Her laugh is warm, but her eyes turn serious. Our casts are restless. Change is coming, and she pokes his chest, her glow playful. You're in it. Ethan meets her gaze. Only if you're there, princess. Her glow goes full pink, sealing something neither says aloud. Vex's voice drifts up, hollering about a new festival dish, and Ethan laughs, the sound carrying into the night. The suns dip, and Ethan's back in the hall, showing a kid how to make a parfait sing, the crowd cheering like it's a galactic event. Lyria joins him, her glow wrapping him like home. Humans, he thinks, are messy, stubborn, but they build bridges where others see walls. That's the real spark, the one that crosses stars. Out there, beyond the suns, a faint signal hums, too quiet to notice yet. Ethan's not sweating it. For now, he's got a princess, a planet, and a dessert that's stealing the show. Whatever's next, he's ready, because humans don't just survive. They thrive.